This is Techzine Talks on Tour, the podcast about enterprise technology that brings you IT insights and analyses from events all around the globe. We cover everything, everywhere. Visit techzine.eu for more information, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast.
Welcome to this new edition of Techzine Talks on Tour. I'm Sander. I'm at the RSA conference in San Francisco. I'm here with Itai Greenberg. He's the Chief Strategy Officer at Checkpoint. Itai, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
What's your opinion on the general vibe at the moment in the security industry?
What I see right now is definitely, first of all, the cybersecurity market is growing so much. It's like crazy. The number of vendors, the number of companies in this space, the number of investors that are coming to be here, it's insane. But when you talk to the customer side, they also look all around and they get confused. They feel like it's overwhelming.
Yeah,
it's
I hear that a lot
overwhelming
too.
Even if you are in this industry for 30 years. And customers are looking to obviously build a secure environment. And as for their environment is moving to the cloud, their environment is AI, their environment is mobile and SaaS and many things.
What are the biggest pain points that they have in terms of their estate or what's happening in their organizations?
So I think that first of all, the challenge of securing a growing environment, distributed environment, is a big challenge. The fact that it's very hard for them to find expertise, people that are experts to hire and that stays in the company for a while and not jumping from one company to another is a big problem. Some of them are looking to outsource and move out of their some of their security practitioners into MDRs, into MSSPs and things like that. So this is a very, very big concern and challenge for many of the customers. I hear it a lot that they say, okay, we have the product, we get all the things that we need, but what do we do with this? It's very, very hard. So as vendors, we need to make sure that first of all we deliver a product that's extremely easy to operate, to install. That I think that's one thing that we hear.
That's always been quite a challenge, right? I mean,
been
the cybersecurity industry is a bit guilty of making it a bit too complicated every now and again.
And it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. I think that like if I'm here in San Francisco, I can see right now autonomous cars driving in a very condensed city. We can come up with products that are easy to deploy and easy to use, and doesn't generate too many alerts, doesn't generate too many asking the security people, okay, we think it's a problem, can you check it? We think it's a problem, can you fix it? It's not the right way to go.
And I think technically it's possible to have it fully automated as well if you want, but that may not be the desire of the customers to fully automate your cybersecurity infrastructure.
So I think the question is how do you make your security products and your security environment as a customers simpler? And I think there are three ways to approach it. One is automation, and I'll talk about automation as automation is part of the deployment, that automation is part of scripting things, very important. But I think there are two other things that we oftentimes ignore. I think that one thing is to make sure that the product learns the environment, understand the topology, and fits itself into the environment. That's one thing. Another thing is to build a platform. Now, platform is a big word for many, because if you go to every customer, they will tell you, I have 30 different vendors that I'm working. What is a platform? Do you want me to go to one vendor?
And there's also a definition problem when you talk about platforms, right? So there are lots of security companies that offer a platform, but they're not the same platforms, if you know what I mean. So a platform is not necessarily a platform.
So I think let's zoom into what is a platform. And for different customers, a platform would be a vendor that is significant enough. There are strategic vendors for the customer. They may have 3 or 4 of them, not just one of them, even in the cybersecurity. And they want to create platforms around domains, a platform around network security, a platform around endpoint security, a platform around SOC, a platform around cloud. And when you think about this way, okay, it's not one platform for all vendors, for all products in one place, because then it becomes way too complicated. But I think that was last one thing that I will tell you on a platform platform should also be very open to integrate with other security products, with other security vendors, with other tools that IT has.
Does that get enough attention in the cybersecurity industry?
Huge.
Yeah,
huge,
I know
huge.
that people they talk a lot about it, right? I mean, I've been getting lots of emails and requests to meet on integration, all that stuff. But are they putting their money where their mouth is, right?
I think that
is there genuine interest in cooperation between even competitors of each other in the cybersecurity
look at us,
industry?
Checkpoint. We declared and we are doing exactly that. We have tight integrations today with Microsoft Defender. We have tight integrations today with CrowdStrike, with SentinelOne, definitely with all the SIEM vendors.
But also on your firewall business as well?
On the firewall business, listen, we have today the ability to augment data from other vendors, but I think that's less what the customers is asking.
Okay.
What the customers are asking is if you are giving me today a platform for network, you as the vendors, and I'm trusting you as the vendors, I want you to integrate between yourself and to integrate to other platforms that I have.
No.
I'll give you an example on the cloud side. I think so we provide a platform on the cloud security, but then we've seen that there is a very good two vendors in the DSPM space.
Yeah.
And even though that we have our own DSPM solution in our own product, but customers have decided to go with another vendors for DSPM. So we integrate with them. We announced it just right now in our state. So I think having those type of integrations will eventually benefit the customers.
Yeah. I mean, because then you can actually get one environment to actually manage everything, and even though they're different products, you can still ingest everything into one single environment.
Exactly.
Right?
I love the way you describe it. It's not only about consolidating vendors, it's about putting everything in a one platform. So if they choose Checkpoint to be the cloud security platform, they will use it to get information from CrowdStrike maybe. They will use it to get information from DSPM vendors like Centra and other, and then this becomes their platform. They do have the other products as well.
Yeah. And it's not only about ease of use, right? It's also about this pure necessity as well to do this, because it gets complicated, more complicated by the minute or by the hour. The entire world we live in, in IT in general and in cybersecurity as well. So you need integration and ingesting it into one central location. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to keep up with what's happening, right?
I think that the problem is that the attacks themselves becomes more sophisticated. So attack starts in the front door of the cloud, moving into your cloud. Sometimes it moves even outside your cloud. It can start with your endpoint or your email, and from your email it gets into the endpoint. From the endpoint it gets into your network and then to your data center. So if you do not connect the dots, if you don't understand how the attack is actually evolving and transforming inside your organization, and the products do not communicate with each other, then it's hard to actually prevent it.
I think it's a key word, right? Because I get the impression that Checkpoint is one of the very few that are left in the industry that are focusing heavily on prevention. Maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of times you hear, well, the old chestnut. It's not a matter of if, but when. All that stuff. But you still focus very heavily on prevention. Does that have a? I mean, you will probably say yes, but does that have a future, right? Because I think there's a lot of chatter and a lot of talk about moving away from prevention. Well, how do you see that based on the discussions you have with your customers or potential customers?
So I think it depends on the customers, but if we look at the large enterprise customers, they probably will invest about 70% of their budget, security budget, into prevention type of product. Trying to put it could be endpoint, network, email, as an example, and 30% give or take on their remediation and things like that. I think that as you go to more mid-sized market, you would find that they don't have the ability to build their own SOC, so they will go with MDR, and most of their direct investment will be on trying to put some type of prevention approach. I think that prevention is a big word, and then we in Checkpoint, we are very, very religious about preventions, believing that when we think about simplicity, going back to how we started everything, if we do not prevent the attack and we tell you, listen, we did a very good job in detecting, but you need to now go and remediate it after, then we are adding complexity to the customers.
Yeah. And for prevention, I would imagine the platform approach also is very important, right? Because if you want to do real-time prevention, not even real-time detection, but real-time prevention, then you need to have a very tight integration with your entire security stack, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely. And let me give you a good example. If I'm a hacker and I already developed my malware file, it's a document malware file that I need you to open this document. How can I bring you to open this document? I can send it to you over your corporate email. I can send it to you via your Gmail account. I can send it to you, maybe I will put it in some Dropbox and I will send you a link to download it. I can give it to you via Facebook or whatever. I can find multiple ways to bring this file to. So ask yourself, do you have the same level of preventions against the same type of malwares in all the attack vectors, on your endpoint, in your emails, in your Gmail, on your mobile device? So a platform will know how to give you the same level of prevention for the same attack vectors, regardless how it gets into your computer.
Yeah. But then you have to do it on a risk-based kind of way as well, right? So in that platform, you also need some sort of a risk analysis of which are the most important factors to protect more than others, maybe even, because you can't protect everything, right?
So at the end of the day, as a customers, you need to prioritize and you just need to decide where do you invest more and where do you are putting aside. I think this is you as a customer are prioritizing your environment and putting risks.
But that's quite a hard decision to make, maybe, right? Maybe they don't really understand what the riskiest. I mean, you can work back. You can work your way back from what are my crown jewels. So that's top priority number one. But then you still don't know the attack factors of how you can get to those crown jewels. So you need to have a discussion internally as well about.
But the common logic will bring you to understand, like that securing your PII data and your medical record is more important than securing maybe your security than your cameras, like your IoTs or things like that. Everything is important to secure, but there are things that are more important than others. And a common sense will help you to prioritize. And if you sit and you think and you define a strategy for security, you will find out where you want to start and what's next. Yes, there are things that you can bring some consulting, you can bring someone to help you out. I think that from a vendor standpoint, when we think about risk, the risk should go back into should we block it or not?
Yeah.
And that's a difficult problems to solve. And again, I think that if you are not compromising on just detection and you're going all the way to prevention, then you really, really need to understand, is this a real risk that you need to prevent or is it something that you should allow to go through?
Yeah, but then you also need to be able to see which is an exploit path and which is only an attack path, which is only theoretical, right? So there are lots of theoretical vulnerabilities that don't really matter all that much, but some of them actually are very, very, very important. And I think that's something that is very hard to detect or to determine, I think, as a customer, which ones are more important than the others.
So we less care. It's not that we less care. We understand that you have in your environments tons of risks and vulnerabilities and issues. We cannot fix it all. You cannot fix it. No one can fix it. So in a world where I'm trying to keep your environment only hygienes, believing that by keeping your environment hygienes, it will be secured, it won't be enough. The prevention side says, I don't know if you have vulnerabilities or not. I don't know if you have risks or not. No. I will just prevent them when someone tries to attack you. And that's the philosophy of prevention. Now, I think that there is a good practice also to scan your application, the endpoint, and try to clean all the risks that you have, the vulnerabilities, the misconfigurations, the secrets that you leave, the entitlements that are too open. All those kind of things are very important, but they are not enough if this is the only strategy. The strategy should start with prevention, and then you go to hygiene and configuration and posture. So that's my recommendation for customers.
Yeah, and in general, do you think the basic hygiene is on a good enough level? basic security hygiene in the market? Because we're still talking about patching, right? It's 2024. I mean, you would have liked to have solved that problem, but it's still
a problem that is almost impossible to solve, because you as a developers today, you are very, very lazy. So you use 70% of your code, you take it from open source, and the rest of the 30% probably use OpenAI. So now ask yourself, how much do you really work to clean all this code from vulnerabilities and from risk, and how often do you go to your production environment and you update the code? It happens, but you still have in your production environments thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of vulnerabilities and risks. So one, yes, you want to clean those that are the most critical one, but the hackers will find even ones that are less critical to hack you. So the prevention, again, will make sure that if we know how to do it well, if the solution knows how, you can still stay secure even if you didn't clean it all.
Yeah, and then it doesn't really help that there are also some security vendors that have unsecured code themselves as well, right? So
the supply chain we've seen. So you do everything in your power to clean your code and to keep yourself hygiene, but then you put some third-party vendors that either runs inside your cloud or maybe connect to your Office 365, kind of a plugin that is connected to your Office 365, and here he steals all your emails, your contact list, or even worse, your PII data and things from your cloud.
Is that so? So if you have to make a priority list as a company at the moment, is a third-party software attacks, should it be very high up on that list?
It's quite high today. The supply chain type of attacks is quite high. I won't say it's the number one, but
ransomware probably is still.
Ransomware is still, and you know how ransomware gets into your environment. Phishing and email. It's always go back to the fundamentals, like. You need to protect your emails. Do a good job, protect your emails. Then hackers will not be able to get the credentials of your power users, and without credentials of your power users, they will have hard time for them to get into your cloud.
Yeah, but it's also, especially when you go towards sort of a overarching platform, and you put all your eggs in one or maybe two or three baskets. There's also this thing called trust that comes into the equation, right? And I think we've seen a little bit of an erosion of trust in cybersecurity because there are several high-profile cases where the cybersecurity providers themselves weren't very secure. How do you see that as having an impact on the market?
Absolutely. You know what happened to Microsoft right now with their breaches and the problems they had. I heard it from several customers this week about that it became a board discussion about the situation. So yes, I think that if you are a serious company thinking about securing banks, financial organizations, securing critical information, critical infrastructure, you need to take those things extremely serious. And we've seen it also with other vendors in this market that have been breached or had critical security vulnerabilities. I would go back and I would say this is the number one thing that I'm so proud about Checkpoint. We almost have zero, and I'm not almost zero type of vulnerabilities, security vulnerabilities. Mm-hmm. And if we had one over the last several years and it's only one, we woke up in the middle of the night to fix it immediately.
So, why is that? Because you're less lazy than the others?
No.
When you develop your own code?
We are very religious. We are very religious. You know, like Checkpoint employees sometimes will complain, listen, you put security everywhere here, like on our mobile device, on our emails, and everything. Like, guys, give us on the code and everything. So yes, this is the way we develop our code. We are very religious. Yeah. You know, and it has a cost, because it has a cost sometimes of agility. Yeah. If you want your developers to move faster,
time to market probably.
Time to market and things like that. But we do not compromise on those kind of things.
Oh, it's smart, at least from an outside perspective. I mean, maybe you will lose some deals every now and again because you don't have the functionality yet.
We do lose sometimes customers because we're missing the customer, the features or some of the product. But on the other hand, we're winning a lot of other customers that respect those kind of customer vendors do not have vulnerabilities.
So the trust issue that's around now doesn't really. I could also imagine, especially the people that you talk to, when it's a board discussion, that the conclusion of one of the conclusions is going to be, we're going to hedge our bets, and we're not going for the big platform. We're going for many separate kind of things, so that we know that we're not relying solely on one provider. Can that be a conclusion as well, or
No, not at all. The other way around. I think that customers have today way more product and feature and capabilities that are able to use. So adding more product and more vendors will not make them more secure.
No.
It will make them even less secure because they will have tons of products in the drawers that are not using.
Yeah.
They need to have a simple product. We go back to simplicity. That is simple to add additional features, simple to configure, simple to deploy, simple to scale. And yes, some customers, if you go back into, if you go up to large enterprise, they may have like another layer of defense. But it doesn't mean that they won't go with the platform.
Yeah, okay. They go from, 50, 60, 70 tools to 10 or 8.
Yeah, so for example, in Checkpoint case, I can tell you that, for instance, many of our customers use Microsoft for the email security, but they will use us as a second layer of defense for the email. So today we have about 30,000 customers use Checkpoint for email security. Almost most of them are deploying us right after Microsoft.
Okay. But that's an added cost as well, right? So at the end of the day, it must be affordable for organizations to do, right? I mean, you don't want to add cost on top of cost and cost.
True, you don't do it everywhere. You don't do it, but email is still considered the number one attack vector.
Yeah.
So if you use Microsoft and eventually hackers understand that most customers of the world use E5 to secure their emails, so they will target E5 to go through E5. They will deploy, they will use it, they will find a way to go to pass it. We put our security right after E5, and we know everything that E5 will miss, we will catch.
Yeah, but then the SOC analyst gets no alert from one solution and does get an alert from another solution. That's also quite confusing sometimes, maybe. No, unless you're never wrong, that could also be the case. If you're never wrong, then
no, we rarely wrong. Very rarely. Our false positive is 0 to none. Yeah, really. So
then it makes sense.
It's not that like every once in a while we find a situation where we block an email that we were not supposed to block, but it's quite rare.
Yeah, okay. And just pivoting a little bit to obviously one of the big topics that I'm a little bit sick and tired of at the moment, but AI in security. Everybody's talking about it.
AI? Never heard about it.
No, good. So you're on the record saying Checkpoint does nothing with AI. That's good. No.
So about 3 years ago, when AI is here for many years, but AI was not a topic that I used to talk everywhere. And then 3 years ago, I had a presentation in front of a large audience, and the name of the presentation, my presentation was ITAI, which is my name, Itai. ITAI.
That's,
so,
that's actually. So you've always had it. That's
I always had it. Yeah, it's built in.
No, but especially when it comes to simplicity and being able to react quickly, and having in a platform. AI must be able to play an interesting role in terms of automation, but also maybe in resolution of things. How do you see that happening?
So I think there are three angles for AI. There is the angle of how hackers are using AI. There's an angle of how you can use AI to make your products better, more secure. And there's the angle of how do you secure AI systems. I think that yes, hackers definitely are using way more AI to attack you, especially on the phishing, spear phishing, things like that. It becomes way more easy. Now we're hearing even.
Do you see that as well in your threat intelligence?
It's crazy.
Because I hear from other vendors that they don't see it at all. So
no, it's great because what they use today right now, they are looking at your social media. And they use AI tools to scan your social media, and then they can generate a phishing campaign that is very targeted just for you based on what you did. They see what you did on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and then when they send you the email, whoa, how did they know all of this? And I've seen it in real.
Yeah, but then you need to be able to detect that it's actually a phishing, an AI-generated phishing email, right? So if you don't see them now in your threat intelligence as a security vendor, you're probably missing them.
You need to block phishing. It doesn't matter if it's coming from AI-driven or human-driven.
Yeah, okay. So then they use AI to actually harvest all the information.
We use AI to block phishing. No matter what. And there are so many different, I won't get into the technology behind it, but there are so many different parameters and algorithm and AI that we use in order to come up with the right verdict. So this is one aspect, is how hackers use AI. And they're using it in many, many other ways to generate codes that will hack into your computer and things like that. We use AI today in products, and Checkpoint came up with a copilot that will help administrators to interact better with our products. We use AI way before. We have more than 45 different AI engines in our threat cloud. But the new AI that we are talking about, the ChatGPT type of the AI, is something that will allow our administrator to interact way better with the security product. But the most interesting part is about how do you secure AI, and that's what the announcement that we did today with our AI guard is the fact that AI is a system that almost every organization will deploy in their environment. They will use obviously the public one, but also the one in-house. So how do you protect it? And that's a huge concern from customers. And again, that came along again. Some customers trying to block their employees from using AIs in different ways. And it's extremely hard because it's not only about ChatGPT, it's ChatGPT and thousands of other AI systems that use ChatGPT or other or BERT or other.
A lot of parallels with the rise of the cloud or public cloud, right? I mean, you had the same kind of split between customers saying you're not allowed to use it. Some said you're allowed to use a little bit, and others say go ahead, do whatever you want. Yeah,
the vast majority are in the middle. They will say, okay, I want you to use it. I think it's very important because this is how you move fast, but I want to control it. Many of them are now running fast to deploy their own AI system in-house, so their employee will not have to go outside. But then how do you secure the prompt? How do you secure that when AI interact with other systems inside the organizations via APIs, how do you secure this type of attack vectors? How do you scan and tell me as a CISO which AI systems my employees are using? How do they use it? For what purpose? For marketing, for sales, for financing, for coding? Think about developers. Think about CI/CD systems that will try to take advantage of AIs. We need to put those kind of guardrails of AI, firewall for AI, and that's exactly where
it's quite hard to do, right? Because you don't really know what you're up against or because AI is changing so quickly that it's quite hard to predict what it's going to be like in 3 months, 6 months, a year.
It's moving extremely fast,
so you have to move very fast as well.
We have to move extremely fast. Customers are moving very, very fast. The whole industry of AI. We announced our partnership with NVIDIA to protect now the NVIDIA AI systems and many new AI data centers will be.
So then basically you bring security down the stack even further.
We are looking to put our security all the way from the AI system themselves in NVIDIA, in our firewalls, inside the browser, in the cloud, protecting whatever cloud is trying to communicate AIs outside. So we're trying to find all the different logical places to put AI. And again, without asking you to put too much new products, we're trying to take advantage of your install base that you have. Sometimes we'll have to ask you to do additional things, but we already have the footprint. Now the question is, do we have the intelligence to come up with the right security in place?
Yeah, because you need to, as Checkpoint, you also need to invest heavily in your AI that helps customers make sense of their AI, if you know what I mean, right? If you ever have to keep up with that, is that realistic? Maybe it's not the right word, but that's going to be a lot of hard work to get there.
The CISOs are having at least 30% of the time free. So now they have another things to deal with. So
maybe they just need to get their hands dirty and do something themselves.
They were waiting for something more, to do more things. So here's more things for them to do. Yes, it's quite chaotic. I think many of the organizations, all the way to board and CEOs, woke up one day and says, okay, AI is here. We have to use it. We don't know how, but we have to use it.
But there's such a lack of knowledge.
Now we have to protect it as well.
But there's such a huge lack of knowledge when it comes to AI, even at board level. I mean, I heard somebody say yesterday to me that he had somebody say to him, it's like this Chinese whisper game now, but that he was afraid that his ex-wife could get his social security number by asking it to an LLM or to a foundation. That's not how it works. But that was a high-level guy in a very big company that thought that AI worked like that. So there's such a huge lack of understanding of how actually these things work, what it can do and what it can't do, that even on the educational side, organizations need to do to educate themselves so much before they can actually make a sensible decision on what to do with AI, right?
Right. So I think that what I heard, and again, I met several big CISOs of some of the largest financials last week and this week last week in New York and now here, telling me they are building right now a committee of people from multiple departments in the organizations, assigning either head of AI or head of AI security, sometimes reports to the CISO, sometimes reports to what they are assigning a VP of AI in the organization, which is responsible for anything that AI and security does, is part of it. And they are looking how to take advantage of AI for their own business, but also how to secure it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting topic to follow in the coming, because nobody really knows where it's going, right? And that must be.
But the funny part is that every company that you see out there change their name from whatever x66 to x66.ai.
Yeah. I think I read something last week that there is a country that has that as their top level domain. .ai. I don't remember which one it was, but they had a
the country with the
they have the .ai, and
you should jump and buy all those domains.
They're having a field. They're having a field day there now. They're making a lot of money. So that's all right. So I think we're at the end of this episode. I think it was an interesting discussion. Thank you for being on the show, and I look forward to catching up with you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Techzine Talks on Tour. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. If you'd like more information, please feel free to visit techzine.eu, where we cover everything, everywhere. Thanks again for listening, and we hope you'll join us again on the next episode of Techzine Talks on Tour.